Amanda, thank you for joining me today.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. So, getting this thing started, would you be able to give us a little bit about who you are and what you do exactly?
Yes. So, the ultimate question, who am I? I've been evolving and expanding a lot on my journey, but the simplest way to put it is that I am a spiritual mentor and activator, and I work through the multidimensional aspects. So I'm a multidimensional field worker, a solar feminine grail mastery mentor. I am an author. I've really been on this journey of soul expansion. And what is the journey of mastery and coming to know thyself in a nutshell? So I've got a school that brings people through courses because basically I'm just sharing everything that I've learned, not just beginning with, but really that brought me deeper since my cancer diagnosis. So even down to the bare bones basics of breath work and how to nourish and fuel your body in a healthy way, how to heal, So it's been quite a journey and I've evolved so much. But yes, right now the focus is very much on spiritual mentorship and personal mastery.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. So how did you get on this wavelength altogether? I mean, you don't have to get too much into it if you don't want to, but how did you get on the path?
Oh, that dark night of the soul. Life hits with a crash and burn moment kind of thing. That's kind of how I describe my cancer diagnosis. It was like a slap in the face, kick in the butt, pulling me down into the depths all at once. But I also was receiving messages at the time, right during my diagnostic phase of going through that whole rigmarole. I was receiving messages that it wasn't my time to die. It was my job to heal the family pattern of dying from cancer.
Wow.
And where did those messages come from, right? And I didn't really know that much about epigenetics at the time. Healing the ancestral lineage was still kind of very much on the periphery. I was open. I had yoga teaching certifications. I had done some meditation courses, but I couldn't sit and meditate for more than 2 minutes. And I knew that I had trauma that was unprocessed in my body. And mind you, I was like a fit, healthy, hot power yogi at the time, like visibly. I was very, very fit, very flexible, could do, handstands and touch my toes to my head at the same time kind of thing. And there I was getting diagnosed with cancer. So immediately I knew that there were major gaps, number one. Number two, that there was this whole layer of the journey of healing and self-empowerment that I was not aware of. I had degrees in psychology. I was a lifelong learner. I loved learning about positive psychology and mindset, but there was so much more that I realized I did not know about. And so it spiraled me deeper into this journey of really understanding, number one, the emotions, how to heal the gut as well. So getting down again into those basics of, okay, what were the gaps in my actual nutrition and physical, mental wellness, like the baseline aspects of, okay, what was I missing? Where was I going wrong? And then deeper into understanding energy and trauma and all of that. And so it really basically brought me through this whole journey that has spiraled me deeper and deeper continuously. But as I have said many times, even on my own podcast, like the deeper you dive, the higher you rise. And so every time I have gone through these processes of kind of being broken open again, I'm like, okay, there is some reclamation that is available for me now that is only going to spiral me higher and empower me further. It's kind of like the slingshot being pulled further and further back so that when you launch, you're able to go higher and higher and higher. And from a frequency perspective, that's kind of how I see it. We're embodying more of our higher self every time we go through a process of a soul reclamation, gaining back a soul fragment, if you will, that is stuck in a trauma timeline, doing that inner child work. So if there's like a wounding from childhood, we reclaim that aspect of self and we become more and more whole. We release the density, we create more space for our higher self to embody. And so in a nutshell, hopefully your audience understands that process to some level and resonates with the terms that I'm speaking of. But it's been a journey of mastery, embodiment, integration, and ultimately expansion into the frequencies that my higher self was really here to anchor in. So yeah, does that make sense?
For sure. Well spoken. Yep.
Thank you.
And I do
Yeah.
believe that is the formula in one way or the other for all of us. The rebirth, right? The essence of it's always darkest before the dawn.
Yeah.
Or maybe another way to say it, like transmutating the darkness into the light, right?
Mm-hmm.
Many different ways to say it, but I think that is the formula for all of us, is to go through it, right? You sort of have to go through it. You sort of have to suffer a little bit in order to be presented with the opportunity of empowerment.
Yeah, exactly. And, I would like to believe that we will eventually transcend this realm of suffering and that we get to then evolve through joy and play and love and laughter, but we're not there yet because we
We're getting
still
there.
have, we still have aspects of us that are stuck in these darker timelines, these trauma timelines, however you want to look at it, whether it's past lives or parallel realities, or I'm not going to put a prescriptive explanation on our multidimensional reality right now, but it's doing, and I honestly believe sometimes there's like an aspect of it that when we close that timeline, it doesn't even exist anymore. It's like not real anymore,
Yeah.
but there's still an aspect of it that is real until we reclaim that aspect of self that is stuck in that timeline, that perhaps was taken advantage of, betrayed, that kind of thing. And so it's just this journey where we have to go through these aspects that bring us back down to rock bottom, if you want to call it that, right? Because it's there that we get cracked open and we open ourselves, we surrender to God source, high, like Holy Mother, Holy Father, God source frequencies to come in and illuminate what has been hidden in the shadows. And so for me, it's quite beautiful, but yeah, it can be so freaking hard when you're in the midst of it. It doesn't make it easy, but I do believe that there is empowerment that comes through the journey when we liberate ourselves from these karmic loops and such.
It's real until you realize the lies. Real eyes, real eyes. You know that saying, right?
Yes, I do.
Real eyes.
I love it. It's spot on, right?
Yeah. So cliche, but it is spot on.
I mean, some of the cliches are they exist for a reason, right? Because they're just so real. Yeah.
Now, do you feel like this lifetime is some sort of transitory period, some sort of metamorphosis that we're all living through so that we can reach this joyous state that you spoke of?
Transitory. Interesting. Yeah, I believe, let's see. Because I'll be honest, I have been at multiple phases of my journey have forced me, obviously, to shed my preconceived notions about what reality is, right? And what this journey is. So, I am at a point of saying, I don't know what's real. I don't know what's true about our reality. And I know that we are here right now. And I do believe there is an aspect that I believe that is true, that we are here to alchemize, to liberate, to end the looping of this paradigm of pain and suffering, I do believe that there are very insidious inversions that have been placed over humanity. We can call them overlays on our consciousness as well. That have kept us trapped in this paradigm of looping, of suffering, of struggle, of scarcity, of limitation, of constriction, because it's literally like a constriction on our consciousness as well. We can talk about the cubes. I mean, I don't know how deep you want to get into some of the more esoteric occult aspects. But, you know, I do believe that there is a layer of reality to that we are here to kind of break that system down. And I believe that we are actually successfully doing so. I believe that we're in a portal of harmonization currently as we record, that a lot of the lower timelines, the lower octaves are being cleared, they're being alchemized, they're being integrated into the higher octaves of being, of existence. And, you know, where we go from here, I just believe it is an upward trajectory, as chaotic as it may look. It's like, I feel like humanity is going through a purge process right now. We are purging our consciousness, but purification is another term for it that I use anyway. It's like when we go through a physical detox in our body, it gets worse before it gets better, right? Same thing when we go through, you know, getting disease or sickness. The symptoms are actually clearing the body of the toxicity, of the density, of the misaligned energies. And so that's kind of what I see happening in humanity. And I'm also a grid worker. So I have been working with the grid of the planet. And yeah, there's a lot of muck and density and darkness and a lot of horrific things that have happened over the millennia. I mean, we need look no further than war, right? That's like blood, sacrifice. Like, I don't know how dark we want to get in this episode, but yeah, it's spilling of the blood on the land that creates kind of karmic entanglement and stuff, right? And so there's a lot there that we are being forced to face right now. And a lot of people just aren't quite ready to face it and grapple with the level of darkness because they don't have the tools. We have had the tools taken away from us, is another way to look at it. The wisdom, the knowledge of how to, and of course, there are many people who are here remembering, reclaiming that knowledge, bringing it back out. I have seen some of your other guests. You've had some incredible guests on your podcast. And so I know that there's a lot of people here who are restoring that wisdom to humanity, but we're in a phase where the vast majority still are kind of trapped in the paradigm of control, to put it simply.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. Did I even answer your question there?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Because I asked if we're in a transitory period, and you said we are in a portal of harmonization, which I like a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what it feels like. We're going through some kind of portal. What the
Yeah.
other side is, who knows? But I feel a pull. Like there's a pull in my being toward a better world, a better being in life for myself, but also that ultimately creates a better world, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think other people feel that as well. A pull toward God, you know?
Oh, I completely agree. I don't think you're crazy at all.
Maybe we're crazy together.
Yeah, we're totally crazy together. Yeah, but you know, it's like can we be called crazy when the world itself is crazy? It's like we're the ones who are seeing reality for what it is. So, yeah, I just want to say, like, the subtitle of my book is Liberating the Heart of Humanity to Create Heaven on Earth. And I very much believe that is the process that we are in, a reality of, you know, harmony and love and joy coming through us. Like I see us as the rainbow bridge, anchoring those frequencies onto the planet. And that's how I see ascension. The process of ascension is like, it's really an anchoring through our vessels and vehicles to upgrade the frequency of this physical reality.
Amen. It's a great title, by the way. Let There Be Light. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, it came through as a transmission, like a channeled series back in December 2020, and then I expanded on it. It was a 21-day series leading up to, and I woke up December 1st with this idea. And then next thing I know, I had 21 days outlined, and it was through the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. And basically that became the foundation for the book. And it's just the journey of healing and awakening. I weave my own journey through it, but it's kind of more like a guidebook. And it's like, what is this journey really about is really what I was endeavoring to put down onto paper, and audiobook, although that's not quite ready yet, but yeah. Because I very much see so much hope, and I've gone through so much nonsense, let's say. It's not been easy.
Now, would you say all in all, the journey, quote unquote, of awakening is waking out of that illusion of the powers that be, of the control mechanisms, and realizing essentially God, as you said before, the Holy Father, the Holy Mother, some kind of greater force that is actually in control, right? It's like giving up control, this false sense of control that we've been living under for thousands of years, Babylon, as they say, and then realizing really what's in control, and then also thus surrendering to that. You know what I'm getting at?
I do. And I completely agree with you. I do completely agree that is ultimately the process that we're being guided through. We have collectively gone through a phase where, science has basically been placed over God, and that's placing ego over God. That's placing humanity over God. And I was raised Christian. To be very clear, to share my background about my connection with God, because I was raised Christian, but I did not resonate with religion. And honestly, my parents were raised Catholic and didn't raise me Catholic after baptizing me Catholic. So I can't even say I was raised in a strict household whatsoever, not even close. But I just didn't totally resonate with it. There was something that felt off. But when I was in church, I actually really liked sitting there and just kind of like tuning out of the sermon and just kind of like feeling this sense of something greater. Even as a little girl, I've gone back to that. Like, what was my experience of church? Cause like, I didn't even like reading the Bible and stuff like that. Something about it. And I do believe that there's a lot of beauty and power in many of the messages in the Bible. The peace that passeth all understanding, you will do greater things than me. There are some profound teachings, to be sure. And especially, I think, looking at like the Old Testament, there's a lot of distortion, but for me, it's God beyond religion, ultimately, is what I'm getting at. But I went through a phase of my journey where I was in I feel like I moved through some of the New Age stuff to get the data, but I was never totally caught up in the starseed galactic narratives and channelings and stuff. But I was kind of exposed to a lot of it, let's say, and like the priestess goddess stuff, and so like connecting with all of the different, feminine goddesses, the female goddesses and whatnot. And I'm not going to say that it's all bad. I'm not going to be extremist in that and say that crystals are evil and things. But at the end of the day, I believe that the ultimate authority is God, Holy Mother, Holy Father, God, as a unity, as a union, not without the polarity, right? And so that's how I connect with God, and really allowing God to take the throne. And this is how I actually work, is I channel that frequency. I just got chills all through my legs. I channel the frequency of God's source, and, Christ as an emanation, a direct emanation, working with the Christ frequencies, the Sophianic frequencies, but really going direct to God and just harnessing and wielding that God source energy, not putting my energy into it, but, just knowing how to hold the container, direct the energy, see what's there to be cleared. And Yeah, it's been the most powerful work that I do. I was never guided to do one-on-one until I had this very clear and strong connection with pure God source frequency. I always had a clear open channel according to other people who, channeled for me at the start of my journey. Didn't even totally know what that meant, but I don't channel beings. I don't interface with beings. I have had messages come through from other entities, let's say, that are of the light, but I've never allowed a consciousness to take over my being. And I think that's how it's meant to be, right? Organic channeling, they don't interface. So that might not resonate with everybody listening, and that's okay, but that's where I'm at on my journey at this point. What I've come to understand, having gone through targeting and attack because I was open through the new age, I was exposed to a lot of distortion. And I didn't know it at the time. I was just kind of going through, I was like, isn't life magical? And this journey is so incredible and beautiful, connecting with the feminine frequencies and all of that, but then I was siphoned from and had to go through that whole rigmarole of really learning that there are darker forces out there, that when you're not working directly through the Christ frequency and God frequency, you're gonna be opened up. Like, you're gonna have that layer of protection isn't there until you're really working directly through that. It doesn't mean you can't have benevolent guides or friends, whatever you want to call it, the way I perceive it anyway. It doesn't mean that you can't have other like emanations that are, directly in service to light, to love, to God, but it means that, above all, it's God, right? Did
Yeah.
I hope that came through clearly, and
Oh yeah.
that, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this is what came through for me, is it's all about being a conduit. That's how I feel. Sometimes
Yeah.
I say I'm just a conduit or just a vessel for something. Um, but do you think it's like about the intentionality of what we conduit, right? So if we're, I don't, is that a verb? We're conduiting a,
It is
if
now.
we're conduiting, yeah, it is now. If we're conduiting some other being for our own good, for our own gain, then that's probably when it gets distorted, right? So we can conduit, we can channel all of these other beings, but if it's for yourself, that's probably where it gets messy, right?
Yeah, I would 100% agree with you on that. It's like service to self versus service to other. It's what's coming to mind with that.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, it's like, I don't know. I'm certainly not going to name names or anything like that. But, looking at a lot of the bigger spiritual influencers out there, especially those who are in, like huge followings, massive amounts of money. I'm not saying, I believe very much that when we're truly in service to God, there's a divine inheritance that awaits us and
Mm.
abundance and wealth, so that we have the resources to have the greater impact, to build the actual structures required for a more harmonic society, literally like healing temples in place of the medical industry, hospitals, that kind of thing. So that takes resources, right? So I certainly do not ascribe to the whole poverty consciousness mentality that is plaguing a lot of the spiritual community. And on the flip side, a lot of people get hooked into, through the new age false light teachings, that kind of Metatronic red cube stuff, that they basically allow themselves, they make contracts essentially with entities that are not of the light. And ultimately, they may be doing very materially successfully now,
Mm-hmm.
they may have a lot of abundance and wealth now, but what that's doing to their soul in the long run is something that they will regret. I honestly feel. And I'm not saying every single person with a big following or who is talking about spiritual abundance and wealth, I am not suggesting that all of them out there are distorted, but you can really see it in their eyes a lot of the time. And there is a lot of cult-like hierarchy going on with a lot of the spiritual mentors out there. They're not truly embodied in the teaching, and they really try to keep people, it can be super subtle, but they try to keep people dependent upon them. They share a lot of truth, but they leave out that last key, that last code that would actually empower that person to not need a mentor anymore. To not need to keep healing anymore. It's like this healing loop, this healing cycle. So yeah, I fully agree that, you know, when people are kind of in that ego mentality of me first and service second, or they're just really focusing on the material gain or allowing, you know, just getting tons and tons of Rolls Royces or whatever. I'm thinking of an older guru there, but, or was it Bentleys or Rolls Royces? You know what I mean?
It's Rolls Royce and it's Osho.
Yes, thank you. I thought it was, but sometimes I never followed him closely. So yeah. But I saw that documentary, right? So yeah, I believe that soul's evolution is just going to have a lot more to atone for ultimately. So it's not worth it. Yeah.
That's a good word. Atonement. You have to atone. Yeah. And all of that's temporary too. All of the materialism of the earthly plane comes and goes.
Totally.
You might enjoy it now for X amount of years, but what's that mean in the sense of eternity?
Exactly.
It means nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
But ultimately, that's just a reflection of their own consciousness. Just shows that truly they're not as enlightened as they think they are.
I agree.
Because if you truly have this understanding, there's no way that you can act out of your own self-interest. I don't feel that, at least. It's like, obviously, there's going to be gain from the things that we do. I know I'm going to get people watching this, get comments. People might think I'm cool. That's secondary. Primary is everything that I do is for the greater good. It's for service to others. And then service of self comes in afterwards. I think it's really that simple switch. It's like, what's first? Is it service to self or is it service to others? If it's self, good luck. If it's others, you're in the clear. But you might not necessarily see it, the fruits of your labor, as quickly, per se. You know?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It's like mission first, mission above all. And then and you know, I see a lot of that, you know, you mentioned you might not see the fruits of your labor immediately. That's certainly been the case with my journey, and yet there was no part of me that was ever going to give up on this, because, you know, at first I was all gung-ho, like I thought I had figured out the secrets to life going through my cancer diagnosis, and I was like, I'm going to become a health coach and help everybody heal from cancer. And little did I know, I jumped right into a health coach training, and yeah, I had my yoga and my my psychology degrees already. So I did have a foundation, but little did I know what still lay ahead for me, and that I literally still had to heal my own body and like walk the walk myself to a point where I could hold the container. And so, yeah, my journey has been kind of like a long, slow, drawn out process. But now I actually really appreciate that, because I feel that that's how you gain a certain level of mastery. I'm certainly not calling myself ascended master, or just to be very clear when I use that term, I'm not conflating myself there, but you know, a certain mastery of yourself, a certain mastery of you know, just your energy and how you navigate the world, and understanding, and it's a maturity as well. It's a maturity that comes with it. So yeah, it's like God is testing you is also what I want to say, that you are able to hold the responsibility of what it means to actually be in service to God and to actually be a quote unquote leader or teacher or mentor or whatever, if you're taking up the torch to be of service in this way, or, it doesn't even have to be in the spiritual realm, just developing your psychic gifts, it's a responsibility because people can use those gifts for ill, right? We've seen plenty of examples of that. So it's like God will test you when you hold certain templates or when you've made a certain choice to choose yourself as a chosen one or whatever to walk this path with devotion. God will test you and will test your maturity and your willingness to fully surrender your ego to the will of the higher timeline of your higher self, of God. That's kind of how I look at it too.
Yep. That's what it feels like to me. It's a test.
Mm-hmm.
This whole thing is a test, but then there's mini tests that are thrown along our way throughout the day.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Right? And just when you think you are the master, here comes another test. Oh, you think you're so holy and wise? Here's a test. And how you respond, it's playing along the words of, you said it's a responsibility. Well, the responsibility is in how we respond to the things of our life. And if you do respond accordingly and you respond sattvically, that's how you pass the test. Without creating more loops of karma, without perpetuating samsara. It's all in how we respond. Essentially, it's like, it's a test, and when we pass it, we become harmless. That's what I feel. It's a journey toward harmlessness. That's what I see in the masters. Of all the masters of the past, they're just harmless. They're just here. There's no karma that they're building. I think that's essentially what we're all working toward, is we're not perpetuating that loop anymore. Easier said than done. I'm not perfect either, for sure. But I can recognize that in others and see that, oh, these people are just like, they're just pure. For instance, what comes up in my head right now is Ramana Maharshi. I just see him, I'm like, oh, he's just here. He's not building any karma. He's just here hanging out with us, right? And I feel that. I feel that in my own life, but I also see that reflected in the masters of the past. And that's how we build heaven. We all become harmless.
I love that. I really love that perspective of being harmless. Yeah, you're not perpetuating any drama. You're not perpetuating any karma. You're not projecting onto people. Yeah. Ooh, that's beautiful. I love that.
It's about accountability, right? It's about, like, even if that person wronged me in my head, oh, this person did something to me, what am I going to do? Am I going to respond in a way or react in a way where I wrong them back? Or do I take that accountability and sit with it and forgive them? I'm not saying it's easy, but I think that's the only way to find this Satchitananda, to find peace in our life, is that accountability, to forgive thy neighbor. Jesus told us that. We haven't listened. There's no other way.
Yeah. Again, completely agree with you on that. And forgiveness is so simple and so powerful and profound when you actually implement it. But it's really not easy to get there. And it's not to, I've seen plenty of people out there in the social spheres saying, forgiveness, no way, they're like, I would never forgive that person, they did wrong and they should be whatever, and again, it's not about what they did or what they didn't do. It's about liberating yourself from the resentment and bitterness and not perpetuating those cycles of victim, victimizer, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
And you know what's also a useful way to look at forgiveness? Because one can be like, I'm going to forgive them so I can be the holy person, right? So I can appear forgiving. It's not like that. It's actually almost like a form of preservation for yourself. Because once you do realize the nature of reality and how karma is real, you're forgiving them, not only for them, you're forgiving them for yourself. You know what I'm getting at here? It's, as above, so below. It's all just a reflection at the end of the day. So when you understand reality at that point, then forgiveness is the most sane thing to do, actually, because you're only saving yourself.
Yeah. I really love that perspective. Forgiveness as self-preservation. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That totally aligns with how I have been kind of explaining it to myself and to people in my sphere, but also it's just adding a layer of nuance that I really appreciate. Yeah, forgiveness as
Hmm.
self-preservation. And it kind of ties into how I see a lot of the like karmic entanglement is like we literally, if we don't forgive, we still have like a cord of attachment with that individual that will keep us in the trauma drama karma loops.
The
And
trauma drama. I like that.
yeah, and then it came through with karma at the end. I was like, oh, that's actually kind of
Ooh.
good. Trauma, drama, karma. Yeah, so it's like the forgiveness will dissolve that entanglement. It liberates
Yeah.
yourself, and that person, they might have done something really awful, and they're still gonna have to work through that at a soul level. But
Exactly.
you then have learned your lesson, basically, your karmic lesson from whatever that person was trying to teach you. A lot of the time, it's really about forgiveness and taking your energy back and saying, I'm not going to participate. We can call that a boundary if you want, but it's like, I'm not going to participate in that anymore,
Mm.
in that kind of dynamic. I'm not going to allow it into my field. And then it will just stop coming into your field once you've really integrated that, because then your light body is literally being restored as you do this, and it will not allow those energies to enter in the first place once you start doing this work.
Amen. Hmm. That's how we heal. There's no other way.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Truly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It only makes sense though in the context of, I mean, it's so deep, but you have to understand karma and reincarnation and how we
Mhm.
kind of did this all to ourselves over the lifetimes and we're untying those knots. It's so deep, right?
Mhm.
It's like if somebody just asked me straight up and they don't know anything about the nature of how this all works, how it's all like cause and effect, I wouldn't even know where to start. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would just say, just meditate, just go follow the breath. It'll all make sense in time.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
let me ask you that actually. Would you recommend certain prescriptions, certain modalities or practices for one to understand these things? Like, what do you recommend to people to be able to understand themselves better?
That's a great question. And I honestly believe that people enter at different points. Like some people will come through meditation, some people will come through breath work, some people will come through a freaking cancer diagnosis or losing everything or whatever, that dark night of the soul becoming an awakening moment. And so then they've really got to just look inward and sit with themselves. The term radical self honesty is coming to mind right now as well. And it's about processing the emotions a lot of the time that are coming up. Being able to sit with that is very hard for most people. Like a lot of
Mm,
people, um, they get triggered. There's this idea that like the stronger your light field, your energy field grows, like your very beingness, your very presence will trigger people, because on a frequency level, you're kind of triggering the shadows in other people who
mm-hmm.
haven't done that integration, and they see something in your light that they it's like they want it on a certain level, but it triggers them so deeply because it means that they have to go through the muck to be able to find it. Um,
They got to pass the test.
I've never really explained it in this way or thought about it in this way, but that's kind of what's just coming through right now. But yeah, it's like, it's hard to say, like, do it this way, because I don't
Mm-hmm.
believe in putting prescriptions on the journey. And at the same time, that's kind of honestly why I wrote my book and structured it in a very specific way. It's like, okay, if we don't have a regulated nervous system, there's no way we're going to actually be able to embody the higher frequencies of ascension and restore our light body. So we've got to go into the lower chakras, but just starting with the baseline of regulate your nervous system, go outside, get more sunlight. Maybe I would even start there, like just go outside in nature. That might be like, if I were to tell somebody to do anything, I might actually start there. Hydrate
Yeah.
more, lemon water. I'll give you my baseline prescription for my daily life.
Mm-hmm.
Lemon water. I sleep well. I hydrate a lot. I start with lemon water every morning, and I have done so for years. And I look like, people are like, what's your skincare routine? Because I'm a lot older than I look, according to pretty much everyone. And I'm like, honestly, lemon water. And yes, I use oil, like all natural products, but it's like detoxify your life, detoxify your body, detoxify your life. But I do mean that, on the level of pure ingredients, clean ingredients, however you want to phrase that, natural
Yeah.
ingredients, eating
Organic.
organic, from the ground and from God, but it's like nature, eat healthy. It's like literally the most basic, simple things
Yeah.
at first. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then lemon water, I specifically do add in, and I do have a very simple breath work routine that I do every morning. And then I do my clearing process, which you can say is like a meditation, but it's like a clearing and connection with God. And that's how I start my day. And I notice a difference if I don't start my day that way. And yes, movement, move your body, and nature. So the simple things of caring for your body temple, I believe, constitutes the foundation for our spiritual development and evolution. Without that, we're going to keep getting caught in loops, because we might literally have parasites in our body if we haven't detoxed. Most people have parasites that are going to like lose our energy. But
Mm.
if we don't have a regulated nervous system, good luck with those activations, those galactivations, those DNA activations. Good luck integrating that. You won't be able to.
Yeah.
Or it will send your body into freeze flight. Why can't I think of that?
Fight
Fight,
or
flight,
flight
freeze. Yeah.
or
Or fawn,
freeze.
or, you're going to collapse. You're going to have a nervous system collapse at a certain point if you
Yeah.
have underlying trauma. So, it's a pretty basic prescription of how I would recommend somebody start the journey is, don't go crazy. Like, meditating is good because it helps to downregulate the system, but like, don't try to activate your third eye until you've kind of regulated your nervous system. Don't focus on that first. I'm saying, like, some people, it might activate naturally, and that's, obviously that's fine. But you've got to do the real work of just healing your body temple, or purifying it, or however you want to phrase it, because the journey is embodiment. So if we're ignoring the body
Yes.
temple, we're never going to get there.
For sure. You gotta take care of the temple. Yep.
Yeah.
I can say that too. That's step one. Take care of the temple. Have a foundation of health. You don't have to be a health freak, but you gotta take care of it a little bit. A little bit of upkeep goes a long way.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've
Stay
triggered people
hydrated.
because they understand. Yeah, they don't understand what I mean. But I'm like, if your body isn't healthy, like, there's gonna be a point in your journey where you're not going to be able to continue to progress at a frequency level, because you've got this
Yeah.
density. And I've triggered people for saying that. And I'm like, I had cancer. So, I'm coming from a space of having gone through that process,
Mm.
So yeah, I'm not saying this from a space of whatever projections people might put onto me, but it's like, it's the reality of what this journey is: embodied ascension, descension, bringing those frequencies into the body to upgrade the vessel, to become crystalline, if you want to look at it that way, eventually over
Mm.
time. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep. That's the thing. I feel like the first part of the path, the journey, is this ascension, it's transcendence toward higher realms, higher understanding of oneself, the interconnectivity of yourself to the cosmos, many different ways to put it. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think you come back into the body.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the ironic thing, in order to be able to have those higher realms, those understandings, you have to have a foundation of health.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like step one, take care of your body, I feel like, and then you can get the downloads, and then you come back into the body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And carry on.
Yeah. And it's honestly, it's an ongoing process. Like, it's like you go
Yeah,
through these
yeah.
different phases for sure. Yeah. It's like you go up and out and you connect with the God source realms and you have all these incredible journeys and experiences and activations and remembrances, whatever you want to call it. But then you've got to
Mm-hmm.
integrate that into the body. And
That's
so
it.
what I have seen people do is jump from activation to activation to activation without the integration. So that's
Mm.
what I would kind of categorize as like the integration process, is allowing that new frequency of consciousness to really integrate into your being, literally at a cellular, biological DNA level, into your consciousness. Yes, but like allowing those frequencies. And so what comes with these activations a lot of the time is another layer of purification, of purging. And so people do experience ascension symptoms and whatnot. But it's part of the journey of, we release more density, we release more density, we upgrade more. The deeper you dive, the higher you rise. But yeah, I would say that it is like, you saying it that way really made me just, it's kind of like riding the waves, and it's like you go down, you go up, you go down, you go up, but there's this constant like spiral occurring at the same time. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like riding the waves, but you keep going up. So like there
Yeah.
might be lows, there might be highs, but ultimately the long term thing is you're getting lighter and lighter and
Yeah,
lighter as you go.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Hmm. I pictured like a Bitcoin chart, it's riding
I
riding the
was
waves, but you're ultimately it's going higher.
I was
I don't know.
imagining the stock market and the Bitcoin, and I
Yeah.
was like, do I want to make that analogy?
We're
But yeah,
linked up.
that same idea exactly.
Yeah. That's the idea. I mean, maybe it's an oversimplification, but that's just what I feel. That's what's coming through at this moment.
Yeah, sometimes that oversimplification is necessary too, because I think like we can overcomplicate it at the same time, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Keep it simple. I do feel
yeah.
levity though, right? It's like we're moving toward, it seems like this may be a little out there, but I'm going to say it seems like what we're doing is evolving out of these bodies. These bodies are dense, they're slow moving light. It seems like what we're doing ultimately is, maybe the next lifetime, maybe the one after it, is essentially being able to have experience, have a life. I don't know if you want to call it that, but outside of our body. We're getting lighter and lighter as we go, right? Think about evolution, where we came from. We came from very dense creatures of the water, or animals, as they say. It's still going on. That same process of like moving towards something, moving towards some kind of novel experience, novel life. I think essentially what we're doing is becoming lighter. There's more levity that's happening in this process of evolution.
I
You
love
know,
that word, levity. Yeah, yeah.
that's what I
Yes.
feel. I mean, you could feel it in your life. That idea is a little out there and grandiose. Like, who knows? Maybe, we're just having some fun here. But I feel that in my life as well.
Mhm.
Personally, like, I feel lighter, like weight almost literally lifted off of my shoulders with the stuff that happens to me. Like, everything is fluid.
Mhm. Yeah, well, it's interesting because a lot of parts of this conversation, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I touched on that in my book. I touched on that in my book." And I feel like I wrote this somewhere that to me, enlightenment is the enlightening of our being. It's
Literally.
yeah, it's literally like bringing more light in, but it's feeling lighter as
Mm-hmm.
we navigate life, like more of that frequency of joy and love, those frequencies of expansion, but not from a place of bypass. It's that we've actually embodied that lightness, that levity as we navigate the chaos of this world and stuff like that. It's like our ability to respond as we respond with a lighter frequency.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I will kind of riff off of, the out there aspect of it. So the way I believe it's it's happening, and I also say this with a grain of salt, that I allow myself to change my mind about what I think this journey is and how we're evolving, because I do not pretend that I know everything about this journey, and I don't believe any single person on this planet knows everything about where we're going and how it's going to look. I don't think anybody does.
Mm.
But What I see happening is that we're bringing these higher codes into our body, activating our DNA, if you want to call it that. So bringing on the extra strands, the junk DNA. 98% of our DNA was called junk growing up. I'm sure you learned that in science, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
90% of our brains is we don't use it. Like, that makes no sense. So to me,
Yeah.
yeah, like literally our biology is a miraculous technology. I see it as the most powerful technology in existence, and a lot of it has been shut off and shut down. And so this process of, we can call it ascension if you want, is reactivating those dormant codes within our biology. And as we do so, I take this with a grain of salt, but I have seen visions of like my skin being kind of translucent, and it's literally crystalline inside. So it's like that diamond essence, but it's more of like a plasmic. Imagine, when you look at a pool and you see at the bottom on a sunny day, like all the ripples at the bottom,
Yeah.
and it's like aqua and it's glistening, and you see a little bit of sparkling rainbow sometimes, or that shimmering plasma rainbow. That's basically what I envisioned, this really pale blue. And the message I received from that meditation was, you are the diamond. So it's like we're literally upgrading our body into this diamond frequency, this diamond consciousness. The rainbow body is kind of part of that, but I believe as we continue to ascend, our chakras will become even lighter in frequency, not the primary colors, but the more opalescent, iridescent frequency of the rainbow spectrum. And how this is actually going to look in a material way, I will not pretend to know, but I eventually see us evolving into a society that is, not eating, not even animals, but not even plants. Like, we will be breathing the ether and receiving nourishment directly from the sun. And that might sound very out there to a lot of people.
I get it.
But yeah. So it's like the reality, I believe, like our actual Gaia will ascend, the earth will ascend, and the ether will actually be something different. Like, the air will be different. It will be infused with this ether that we will actually, kind of be one and the same with. And so, a lot of our reality has been kind of dampened and shut down, including the elemental reality around us, the natural reality around us. And, I'm not saying how long this is going to take. Could it take thousands of years to get to that point? Yeah. But I believe that that's the trajectory that we could very well be on. But when it comes to like the frequencies of consciousness and the dimensional realities, it's like our body has the technology to access all of the dimensions here right now through our consciousness. Once we, shed all of the illusions and restore that connection with God's source, we actually do have the ability to access all the dimensional realities within. We've just got to go through that process of restoration. And, redemption is also coming to mind again.
Mm.
But yeah, so
Mm.
how does that land with you?
Oh, it landed for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, the kingdom of heaven is within. And then
Mm-hmm.
once you find that, you may get glimpses or
Mm-hmm.
visions of this future kingdom on earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's trippy. It can be trippy.
Yeah, that visual that I had of my arm, it was like a total heaven on earth reality, like the most pristine waters, pristine clear air and skies, and just beauty all around, vibrant colors,
Mm.
but just pure beauty and
Mm-hmm.
serenity, honestly. So yeah,
Serenity. It's a good word.
glimpses. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense to the mind, the ego mind, the thinking mind, the monkey mind. It's like, what? Come on. Get those hippie thoughts out of here.
Yeah.
But the seeming other mind, the higher self, the higher mind, it makes the most sense,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's almost like there's two conflicting operating systems within our being.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
But the other one, the higher mind, just feels realer to me. Even though it's subtle, it feels realer.
Completely agree. I feel a lot of this dense reality is rooted in illusion. So yeah, that reality I feel like is more real on a lot of levels.
Yeah, sometimes it just hits. Like I'll get a vision of like visions that I can't even explain to you. Visions that go beyond like any kind of conceptual framework that I can put it into.
Yeah.
Very difficult to explain, but as we mentioned in the beginning, it's this pull. It's this pull toward a better world. It's pull toward the kingdom. It's real.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, and I think more and more are feeling that pull, and it's like the ripple effect through the consciousness of the collective is very real right now. So I do have hope in spite of all the chaos. Like I really don't try to like watch the news too much, but I see things here and there. You can't avoid it on like the feeds sometimes, right? But so I'm aware generally of what's going on, and I really am trying not to keep myself entangled in that energy, because I do have hope and I see the possibility that lies ahead if we just continue to do the work. And I do believe that on an energetic level, like, people are doing grid work behind the scenes and clearing the actual energetic grid of the planet of a lot of this distortion. And that has an effect on the consciousness of all humanity. But like I said, it's like this purge process where it looks worse. But I believe it's actually because we're clearing all of that density. And so actually we're on the right trajectory, and it's that harmonization. So anything not in alignment with the frequency of harmony has to be cleared out. And so that's what we're seeing, all the shadows coming to the surface, but it's actually because we're on the right trajectory and the right path right now.
Yeah, well said. One can see that if they're in tune enough. But if they're not, if you're just tuning into your TikTok feed, that's it. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
It doesn't look so good on a surface level. But yeah, really what's going on behind the scenes is, as you said, a purging, a rebirth, a metamorphosis, just a reorientation of our being altogether. And how long it'll take, I don't know. But I know it's an inevitability. And that's all that matters.
Yeah. Right. And time is
I think
an
it'll be pretty
illusion.
quick though.
Yeah. Time is an illusion. So, I was talking about possibly millennia to get to the point where I was explaining the biological reality of our evolution, but it could be far shorter than that. And at the same time, just to be like very clear, I feel within the next decade, our reality could look entirely different. Not necessarily New World Order, One World Order, whatever, but in the positive direction. So that's what I'm anchoring in, because we need people anchoring that reality in.
100%. Yeah, and just the fact that we're having these conversations, people tune in, they're having their own conversations and just connecting in that way is proof of really what's going on. It's proof to me, at least. Like when I have these conversations with people like you, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not crazy. They see it better than I see it. So something's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you been on this journey yourself?
That's a hard one to answer. It might have been many, many lifetimes ago, but in this lifetime, I'd say maybe like 5-6 years in the whole meditative sphere, the whole yoga sphere. Before that, I was inquisitive, but not in the right way. It was like outward. It was very scientific. I was atheist, pragmatic, into rationale and things of that nature. Very logical minded.
Yeah.
But I never had the inward exploration until probably 5-6 years ago. It all came from just pretty much your same thing, not cancer, but a whole list of suffering, mental suffering, where I was like, I got to take care of myself. And then that just led to realization upon realization, understanding upon understanding, and here I am doing a podcast
Mm.
about that whole about that whole thing. So yeah, it's a long story, but I'd say 5-6 years, and it all came from mental illness, you could say.
Mm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
the Dark
Yeah.
Night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, I do think that it starts with, yeah, there's like a mental layer to, I think, most physical disease too, because
Mm-hmm.
that mind body connection is super real. And that's what I was really
Yeah.
looking at when I was diagnosed myself. So I very much believe that. And I'd be curious to hear your perspective on this, but I believe that a lot of mental illness, personally, I believe this, it's actually it's spiritual in nature, actually, at its root.
Oh
There,
yeah.
like, depression is spiritual disconnection, and
Mm-hmm.
we could go further into the dissociative disorders and stuff like that. It's like actually, like, entities are interfacing with them and stuff like that, or they're remembering past lives. I'm obviously conflating some of the different diagnoses, but yeah, I have 2 psychology degrees, and I was like, something about this doesn't
Uh-huh.
feel right.
Oh
What
yeah.
do you think?
So what was your question again? I'm sorry.
Do you think that the mental illness realm and those diagnoses, there's actually some kind of
Oh,
spiritual root underlying it?
oh yeah, for sure. I think um, you could say, reflections of like depression and anxiety and the whole list of illnesses, illnesses are just they're just symptoms of our spiritual sickness,
Yeah.
of our disconnection from God, from source, essentially. And they surface in our own karma, in our own way, through, it's hard to generalize, but through our own, through our own kind of like blueprint. It's hard to
Mhm.
say, but it's all just a reflection of a disconnection from source and spirit
Yeah.
in one way or the other. And
Yeah.
that's what I felt. I'm just speaking personally. Like, I didn't have any sense of deeper connection to a higher power. I didn't
Mhm.
have any of that. I just thought this was all just some kind of random occurrence, and I'm just here
Mhm.
by accident, and live and let live, and just very, very shallow way of seeing, right?
Mm.
But once you
Mhm.
do see things differently, then you can start to work out all the mental junk that comes along the
Mm.
way. But all in all, that's like, that comes afterward, like the depression, anxiety, and things of that nature. That comes after. That's a symptom of really what's going on at a deeper level.
Mm. Mm.
Would you say?
Yeah.
You're the one with the psychology degree? Would you say so?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get my PhD, to be clear. I just a master's. But I very much feel that. And I had these realizations like well after my degree, to be very clear.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, because that's not what they teach in mainstream. They don't teach that
Yeah.
psychology and spirituality. That now there is like spiritual psychology and stuff like that is a field, but
Mm.
and so we're seeing a lot of the merging occurring. But
Mm.
yeah, I really appreciate the way that you explained it, kind of having gone through it yourself in a more direct manner. Mine was a little bit more physically orientated, but it was also with the physical illness, but there was a lot of the emotional and psychological mental health issues. I had like anxiety type stuff, but I was never
Mm-hmm.
diagnosed with anything. So I don't really say that I kind of came to spirituality through that as directly. But yeah, contemplating it a lot, I really kind of started to see it like that. So yeah, thank you
Yeah.
for sharing your perspective on that.
Well, thanks for asking. Yeah, we all have our own ailments. That's the thing. It's hard to put it in a cookie cutter response, but
Mm-hmm.
all in all, it's like seeing your suffering as an opportunity in one way or
Mm.
the other. Whatever is happening, it's like, how can I use this? How is this working in my own accord, essentially? And that's not easy to see in the moment, that's for sure.
Yeah. Definitely not.
But if you do
Yeah.
use it accordingly to improve oneself, then you'll be able to look back on it and say, "Oh, it was all for a reason.
Mm.
It was
Mm-hmm.
all it was all in a plan in some way, some sort of cosmic order."
Yeah.
you know?
Cosmic order. I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that.
That's the path, I think, in one way or the other for all of us. Is to use our suffering in some way as
Yeah.
trajectory toward God.
Yeah. As a catalyst is also the word coming to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I had something I was gonna say, but I totally forgot. I think I'll go now.
I had a feeling there was something else there. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I had another thread I was gonna bounce off of, but
Uh,
it's gone now. It's
oh,
just the nature of these kind of conversations.
yeah. Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, maybe it wasn't meant to be shared
Wasn't
in
meant
this
to be, I guess.
conversation.
No,
Yeah.
but this is a good talk for sure. Yeah. Oh, this is what I was gonna say. I remember now. I'm gonna
Good.
bounce off of this. You got to wonder, right? What happens at a psychological, at a brain level, like at a neuron level,
Mm.
when we do connect with God, when we do connect with a higher power, because there has to be something that you can see on an MRI scan or something like that that changes in the brain. There has to be, right? There has to be like a physical reflection of your insight. So you got to wonder like
Mhm.
what that is. There has to be a certain part of your brain that almost switches on, that lights up when you do connect with God, that enables
Mhm.
the other connections of depression, anxiety, whatever the ailment is, to be rewired. Like there has to be this like this greater wiring, this part that turns on in your brain. Maybe it's the what is that called? The pineal gland? I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm not a neuroscientist. But
Mm.
there has to be something that we can measure scientifically that shows us when one when one believes in God, essentially, you know, has the understanding and the realization.
Yeah, yeah. My brain is spinning right now because I feel like I've definitely seen scans of brains before meditation and after meditation. Um, but as
Mm,
far as like the connection, like how do you measure like connection with God specifically? Like would it be
yeah.
through meditation scans? Is that the most practical way we can do it at this point in time, right?
I don't
But
know.
yeah, I definitely think that, I believe and I feel like there people are starting to do this research. It's not like, very robust at this point, but yeah, I do believe that, I've seen certain scans and areas of the brain, like there are more areas that light up. I cannot, I came from a biology pre-med background coming into psychology, but then I kind of really went off in the other direction. So I can't say I remember too much about the neuroscience aspect. So I don't remember the different parts of the brain off the top of my head as far as what would have lit up. But
Mm,
I do believe, like, if we're activating our pineal, that's going to activate the different regions and the pituitary. There's a lot of glands in the brain that get activated, but that will activate, those dormant regions of the brain that I was talking about earlier. Like, I believe that that is where a lot of this spiritual connection is, like, it's activating or coming from or coming through. I don't even know the
yeah.
exact way to phrase it, but I think you understand probably what I'm basically trying to say. But yeah, I totally believe that what you're saying, like, yeah, the brain, like there's going to be ways that we're going to be able to measure the direct effect of, healing through God. And it's really a frequency of pure love is one way to look at it. But and this is also bringing to mind, real quick, I've seen, like, in China, they did this thing where a woman had a crazy tumor in her abdomen somewhere, and they all, like, a bunch of people, doctors, prayed over her, and in real time, you could see her tumor shrinking. So that was really fascinating. So
Wow.
I can't remember where I saw that, but it's like, so we're starting to get evidence that this energy stuff is real. Yeah. And, I had a client say that her son's rash, after doing like the clearings that I taught her to do, her son's rash has stayed away. And it was like some insane rash that the doctor had never seen so bad. But doing the energy clearing, his rash stayed away. So there's real like physical truth to the energy work having an impact. It's just not being measured very robustly at this point. And so I do think that in the coming years, decade, new paradigm, we're going to be marrying the energy realm with the scientific research realm. And, there's going to be a lot of beautiful expansion that comes from that, using technology for the higher good, not for control. And we're going to be able to see, in real time, the effects of this energy work and how it affects us at a biological level, at a brain level. I do believe that that's coming. It's already happening, but it's just not as robust and widespread right now. But yeah, I 100% believe that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really like seeing the body as evidence. I mean, you can literally get scientific evidence, but you can use your ailments or stuff that you think is happening to you in a way as proof of what's happening at a deeper level. That's how I see it, at least. It's like if I'm
Absolutely.
sick or something, just, I don't know, whatever happens to the body, it's not feeling good. I'm like, okay, this means more than just a symptom. There's something that's deeper than the surface feeling and what's happening at the surface that I'm not addressing, that I need to address.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
The body keeps the score.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Really?
Have you heard of that book?
No, never. That's a book?
Oh, yes. It's a book by Bessel van der Kolk, I believe is how you pronounce it. In the realm of trauma psychology, it is one of the most well-known books, I would say. It's a tome, though. You have to really want to dig in to the nitty-gritty research and science if you read the whole thing. But basically, the essence is that he has been trying to change the paradigm of trauma psychology for decades now, and they have not integrated the learnings and lessons from the research that does already exist about the effect of trauma on the biology and how, rather than symptom care with medication, we should get to the root of. And it's so, yes, it goes beyond the psychological effect of depression, anxiety, behavior issues in children and stuff. What is the root? Usually it's trauma. And if we address the trauma, if we address the root, it will also save billions of dollars on all these programs and stuff like that. And so he gets really into the bigger picture from a more research oriented, academically minded perspective. But the research is fascinating, and they still have not integrated it into our, the DSM, whatever they're on, like 5 or 6, whatever version they're on. They haven't integrated it into that, or much less our medical industry. So, and we know why. We know why they haven't done that, because there's, a lot of money to be made off a sick population. But I believe the next phase of evolution, we're going to be, obviously like transcending this paradigm of profit over people. Fundamentally speaking, I see that's the direction that we're being called to go. Because then, God above all, it's not profit above all.
Amen to that.
So, yeah.
We're getting there, little by little. Yeah, I mean, if you just compare our world now to, say, I don't know, 300 years ago, completely different. And what's 300 years in the scheme of time? It's like this. That's a snap of the fingers.
Oh, yeah.
So it may seem slow in this one lifetime, in the scale of this one lifetime, but really, in actuality, we're accelerating. There is a huge acceleration going on that has been going on for maybe the past, I don't know, 100 years, something. Who knows? But all in all, it's actually happening very quickly. We're getting there.
Even thinking from, a decade ago with the smartphones and social media
Yeah.
as the most practical example, our entire
Mm-hmm.
reality has changed in a decade because of the technology. And then, looking at COVID, like, 2020 till now, like our reality is again entirely different, and it's
Mm-hmm.
wild. It's
It's
kind of
exponential
wild.
too.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, what we're doing right now is magic. It's literally magic.
Yeah, this is
Like, this
magic.
is crazy. We take it for granted because we can just do it. Like, I send you an email and we pick a time and do it. But when you really sit down and think about what we're doing, it's mind blowing. And we're
Yeah.
recording it, so it's also timeless at the same time.
Mhm.
It's just like, what is going on? I don't know,
Mm.
but it's
Yeah.
cool. Cool to
Yeah.
be here and witness all of this, all together, to just like see it all unfolding before my very eyes. It's awesome. Like, this is the lifetime of lifetimes. I like to say, like, this is the one. It all led up to this one,
Oh,
and who
I
knows what's
believe that.
next.
Mhm. Mhm. Totally believe that. Yeah, this is the one where it all comes together. Yeah, we learn the lessons, we integrate them, and then we actualize what our higher self's mission came here to do.
Amen.
Is Yeah. Yeah, that's how I see
Yeah,
it.
the opportunity is there for all of us, and the choice is yours.
Mhm.
There's no
Amen.
excuse. Well, hey, on that note, Amanda, I think we can probably start to wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
But do you have anything else you want to say before we stop recording?
Just thank you. This has been a really fun, beautiful, deep conversation, and I truly enjoy having these kind of conversations. So thank you so much for inviting me on and,
Of course.
allowing me to speak my stuff in front of your audience.
For sure. Yeah, this was awesome. You're an awesome person.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, and I wish you all the
Thank
best.
you. Thank
Seriously.
you so much. Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, that's it, everybody. Peace and love to you, Amanda, and peace and love to everybody that listened this long.
Yes, onward and upward in love and light as we journey home to the heart of truth. I will end with that's my sign off for my podcast too. So
Let there be light.
yes, let there be light indeed. Thank you so much.
For sure. Goodbye, everybody.